My name is Maciej Łukiański. I will be talking about Droopler, a distribution that we created to address the problem of building a cheaper website, a smaller website in Drupal. Drupal is great, right? You can do anything with Drupal. Anything, really. Drupal is a Swiss Army knife, right? Like hook, world, alter. These are the things that we all know that, right? We all know that. And then we also know that the development cost in Drupal and the development cost in WordPress, yeah, it's probably... Some people say that development cost in Drupal begins where the development cost in WordPress ends. So, yeah, this problem exists. And Dries, even in his keynote, showed this in Vienna in 2017. He said, you can't really build any small websites in Drupal anymore. You can't do any portfolio sites, any brochures, blogs on Drupal. That's not a good idea. You should actually just do these big websites on Drupal. Ambitious is more than just enterprise. It's community sites, integrations, enterprise. He actually gave a number. He said, probably if the website is under $50,000, it doesn't make sense to build it in Drupal. $50,000. I mean, big enterprises, that makes sense for them, but a typical small and medium-sized business, how can they, pay that? And then, again, a typical agency in Drupal is 0 to 20 people. They can't really be all doing, many of them are 5 or 3 people, and they can't really be doing enterprise websites because they're just too small. And then there was a response in Nashville, on the DrupalCon in Nashville, where this question was asked: if Drupal now is 5% of the market, and all these big enterprise clients are just a fraction, do we really want to go with Drupal into this really small market there of the big enterprises? Can we all go there, really? I mean, so this question was asked, and should we do that? Should we retreat to this high-end small portion of the market? Should we compete with all the big Adobe Sitecore CMSs? And should everyone now who does Drupal in Drupal 8, which is enterprise ready, should everybody do that? Will we fit in there, all of us, the whole Drupal community? Can everybody now just kind of be, and what about all the other smaller websites that were built in Drupal 6, 7? Should we just give it up, say, well, we don't really do those anymore, nobody does it, and just give up the market? Or maybe we should start doing WordPress, or maybe we should start doing websites in Wix for our friends or families or whatever businesses that are small, and we tell them we can't do a website in Drupal, so we will do it in WordPress because it's 5 times cheaper. Should we really do that? I'm not sure if we should, especially that if we give them all the market share, they will just kind of continue following us into the enterprise, just as we are now attacking Adobe Experience and Sitecore CMSs, which were typically CMSs for the big corporations. The reality is that the market is just simply changing, and we have to change to adapt. We can't just build Drupal as we were building, because mobile theming is more complicated. This is one of the very expensive elements in Drupal theming. Each website is different data structures. Theming takes a lot of time. In WordPress, you just buy a theme from ThemeForest and it's done, right? This is a big chunk of cost. And technology allowed for websites to be cheaper, because in Wix you have many pre-built templates. Same with WordPress, you have many pre-built templates. You can build websites really easily. Whereas in Drupal you go into this mechanism of, okay, we have to create a field for each thing, we have to create a node type for each thing, and then we have to theme it, and this makes everything really expensive. But clients want cheaper with more features, and they do get it. They do get it from Wix, they do get it from WordPress, they get it from Simple CMS and all these other solutions that they do deliver. And in WordPress and in Drupal we we don't really. We say, well, if it's under $50,000, it doesn't make sense to do it in Drupal. Really? Our competition offers adapted to the market. It just offers for the small and medium enterprises. They are offering is simply better, and we have to exactly that, adapt or die. So what we can do, we can either move up the market and just do very big websites, and then WordPress maybe cannot compete there. Wix is just not made for that, or we will be kind of swept out of the market by all the other solutions, and we will have to start doing WordPress. We will have to start building Wix websites rather than the Drupal. Or we can adapt. We can start selling a solution. That's what they really do. If you build a website in WordPress for a small company, you don't really go to them and ask them, so what do you want? You show them 3 portfolio sites from Team Forest, and do you like this one or this one or this one? And they say, well, this one's the best. And then you change a few things and that's done, right? Or in Wix, that's how you build websites on Wix. You go in, there's a browser of templates, and you choose the one that suits you most, and you kind of just adjust it a little bit. And this is how half of the internet builds websites, really. Like, WordPress is not 60% of 60% of web is WordPress now, because it's so quickly and so cheap to build. And we continue to force the cost of customizability on people. So whenever somebody comes to us and asks us, can you build me a website? We say, well, what do you need? And they say, well, we need a banner. And we say, okay, how many elements do you need? Do you need all of them customizable? Do you need, and so we tell them we do Drupal, and by this we say we can do anything for you. And clients often just want a solution. They want a website. They don't want a very customizable website. So it's a different sell. We shouldn't sell extensibility anymore. We should sell a solution. We should sell a beautiful website, fast and cheap. Fast and cheap is the key. Right? That's what everybody wants. That people come to you and say, how much is a website? And you're like, well, it depends what you want to do. We have to have a workshop for a week to determine what you really need, and in that time WordPress is already sold and built and shipped. And we shouldn't really ask clients what they want. We are experts. We know what they need, right? We build websites for a living, and they just want one for the first time in their life, or maybe second. So we shouldn't ask clients what they need. We should just give them what they need. So we need a great website that works and is cheap. Yeah, we are experts. We have to tell them, and that's why we built Droopler. We built a ready website, because clients just want a website. They don't really want a super feature. Like, how will they decide what they want? They will look at their competition, choose the nicest looking website, and they will tell you, this is what we really want. I mean, if you're a big enterprise, maybe you have a marketing department that actually thinks about what you want. But if you're a small to medium enterprise, you don't have a marketing department. So the CEO or the owner will be like, what do I need for a website? What sort of website do I need? And like, we kind of just take it all away and say, well, this is a great website. You can use it immediately. I'll show you a demo now of what. So Droopler is a distribution which basically gives you a ready website. So you install Droopler and immediately just get this. So it's ready to use. You don't need to customize anything almost. You just need to change the logo and CSS a little bit maybe if you want. And you can just use it. You can build pages and all the brochure sites, all the sites without a very specific feature that is really needed can be just solved by Droopler, or at least to some extent, or with minimum customizations. Sorry guys. So you install Droopler and this is a website that you get. Right, all these elements, all the texts, you can change them, you can adapt them. Yeah, as you can see, not all fields are filled in, so all these text blocks can have additional icons, or they don't need them. Like if you don't fill them in, they don't show up. If you do add them, it just looks better with them. And you can drag and drop all these paragraphs. Each one is styled separately so that whatever structure of content you want to create on each website is completely separate, and it works quite nicely. Right, so that's landing page. So we offer two content types, the landing page and the blog. Right, there you go. So basically, basically two types of content. We just offer a landing page where you can create these elements, and a blog, which is separate because blog is such a common use case that we figured, well, we'll just build that because the news mechanism where you have, you know, articles one under another is so common that it's just a separate feature. So it's a really quick implementation. You just install it, you download it from Drupal.org, you install it, you can adjust the CSS, add your content, and the website's ready. And you can just kind of give it to your client or whatever, and yeah, there you go, beautiful website out of the box. And Droopler is made of modular pages and paragraphs. So what you saw there, these were paragraphs. Who used paragraphs before? Right, so these are paragraphs. Blog also in paragraphs, so you can kind of build blog posts that are, you know, modular. They can have it. At this moment, they can have a text and an image, and you can kind of have an image full width and just fits within text. Theme is in Bootstrap 4. It's a theme and a sub-theme, so it's like a Bootstrap theme on Drupal.org is still version 3, so we kind of created our own base version of Bootstrap 4 theme based on a body of Bootstrap, and off of that you get your own sub-theme which you can customize with your CSS. Well, and every variable is customizable via a CSS variable. And on top of that, we added all the typical modules that you usually want on a website: Path Auto, SEO modules, analytics, all these typical modules that you want to usually have. You can disable them if you like. We take an approach of an opinionated approach of what you should have on a website. You can disable it if you don't need it, rather than the other way around. What Drupal usually does is you get a bare minimum and you can add on to it. We give you 6 types of paragraphs. We give you a banner, an image with a site text. These you saw in the demo. You have just a text paragraph where you just want a lot of text. Feature boxes. These were the 6 that then turn to 2 rows of 3. They can have icons as well. Text with a background. Well, this is different from a banner because in the banner the text is important. Here, text with background, it's important. It's differently organized. Always the whole image is displayed on the background. You get a form, and there are quite a few already kind of modules that we created that give you additional paragraphs. We just didn't place them in the distribution itself. They're at the moment hosted on GitHub, and we will probably be introducing them in the future into the distribution. And you can really achieve a lot with just this. These are very typical use cases on many websites where they have banners, they list features, and there's scrolling for mobile. That is now the typical use case without sidebars. This is how web is now built. You can achieve a lot with just these, and if you need an additional one, you can just create one paragraph and then you have new features. It's extensible. You can add your own paragraph types, add them to the page, and you can use them. Some of the fields we created, they are kind of the superpower fields. So for example, there's a field which, if you upload an image to it and in your template you add a certain class of your paragraph to the template, it will just be a background image so you don't have to kind of style everything, add your own JavaScript which will nicely position everything. It's all there out of the box. You can use some of the content paragraphs that I linked to in the GitHub, and you can add your own as well. The theme, we spent a lot of time on the theme to make it really customizable. Each paragraph, each element is separate variables which inherit from generic variables. So there is a place where you can change 5 colors and your website will look completely differently. Or you can customize each and every detail of each single paragraph also. So it's really easy to override everything, and then when you compile it, you have a completely different website. And each paragraph is templatable, so you can copy the template over from the module, use it in your subtheme, and change the HTML, just like in any Drupal really paragraph. But each has a separate one, so they are all created and overrideable. And we created quite a few websites with Droopler, and they are similar, but they are different. They all use the same mechanics, the same features, the same modules. They just, like for example, there's one here. This one just changes CSS. So I did this website for my brother who launched this company producing these passports, and he said, "Hey, build me a website." I'm like, "Yeah, great, alpha version of Droopler, let's do it." And it took me 20 minutes. So yeah, it was an alpha version, so it took a bit more. But really, right now, it would just take maybe 20 minutes. And then, yeah, he was entering content for 5 weeks. Typically with a client, right? But that's how it was. But yeah, so you can really quickly do that, and then, right, our careers website here, similar but somewhat different. A landing page for an app that we were recently created, also Droopler. DrupalCamp website, the one that you're visiting right now, also Droopler built. And like we were approaching building a new website for the DrupalCamp for 3 years, and it was like always nobody had time, and on Droopler it was really quick. So this solves these problems, and it works in production. You can go check these websites out and see if you like them. And now the market. So you have this fantastic tool, how to sell it, how to approach a new, like how to do the whole new mechanics of selling this to your clients, right? You are used to going and asking clients what they need and all that. So the market workflow here is a bit different. It's more how you do it in all the other technologies, where you just install Droopler, change logo and colors, show client, and just done. Win, right? Or if something needs to be more complex, the client is a bit bigger, and it might take a bit more time, you design for Droopler, show the client, dev is really quick, so the price is still low, and you win. Easy. Hopefully. But they do want to customize today. But then a lot can be done quickly, really. So you can add your own paragraph. Like you start with a very good base, which is already built. You don't have to build everything from scratch. A lot can be done quickly with these paragraphs, or if you add just a few new ones. And on the other hand, you can tell clients, if they ask you, "Can you do that?" You can say no. Like many software vendors do that. They say, "This is not possible. No, we can't do it." And sometimes the client makes this decision to, keep the cost low, but just pass on a feature because it's extra development. And should they? Sometimes clients, they want this and that. Is this really an added benefit? If you ask them, what will your website sell better if this logo is a little bit to the right, or if you have 5 more something on somewhere? Often it's just our competition has that, so we want that, but it's not really an added benefit. So you can have these discussions, or you can tell them, well, this is really cheap, but if you want something extra, well, this is custom development. It's still less than if somebody builds your website from scratch on Drupal, and then you just pay for this one feature that we're building, and you get to build a new reusable component maybe for the next client who might ask for that, and you kind of can just expand on reusable components, and you can share with the community as well. Somebody might have a use case just like you. And these websites still are similar because it's the same theme, right? And yes, to some extent they are. Many websites are similar now, to be fair. They're all scrollable. You scroll and scroll and scroll, and they all have banners, an image, and a text. And yeah, and this is the UX that kind of stuck because it's the best one there is at the moment. So there is a best practice, so we can just give you all these tools that are kind of best practice. But then again, they are different because they have CSS you can quickly customize, images are now the most important really part of the website most of the time. And you can as I showed you here, they are the same, and not really. So. Or you can sell customizations like this, say, sell implementation packets. This is how big SaaS companies often do that, where you can like, even the guys at Open Social on the presentation just an hour ago, they said, well, the basic one where everybody is the same is really cheap, but if you want something more advanced, you just pay extra. But you can get the really cheap, so you can get the client to start up, and then if he expands, if he grows, if he changes, you can just kind of give him the pricing options. You don't lose the client just on the start because you already give him a big bill, or ask him the question, well, what do you need, and then he doesn't even know. Yeah. So this is a kind of a different business mechanics than people would usually use in the Drupal world, where everything has to be spec'd. It's a big project, and the smaller companies don't really want to go through the process. They just want a website. There. Where to start if you want to try it out? There's a website, Droopler.com, where there is some information. Drupal.org. We released the project there this week. And the GitHub repository, that's where we do development. And if you want to use Composer-based approach rather than download the distribution from Drupal, there is a starter project for your installation. You can use that to and then use Composer going forward, getting all the updates and everything. Right. Thank you. Questions?
How have you predict what client needs? And is it only company experience and your years of experience with clients? Maybe you made some researches or experiments, more experience than brothers' websites.
Well, we do. Yeah, we've built quite a few websites over the years. That's one thing. The paragraphs that we show, the six ones here, these are our company's best guess as to what people actually use, like the banners, the image on the side, the big text that spans a form, which is a typical. No, we didn't do a very in-depth research into what the client, like we didn't go to the old websites and actually check if all of them have a banner in the beginning. No, we didn't do that. No. So it's a starting point. We will see. Maybe the community will be better at this and we'll build, a paragraph that's more used than ours. So, yeah, we use this. This is what we were using, and we saw that we need these particular elements all the time, so that's how we built it.
How do you deal with updates of that sites? I mean, that sites are quite small. The client don't want to pay often or have no budget for updates, and that's I think the problem, because for example on WordPress you can do update by one click on user interface. So how to deal there? Because I can't imagine that client will use Composer and they don't want to pay for us to do that.
Right. So internally, at the moment, we are actually building this automatic mechanism for updating, which just pulls from Composer. So we don't do any manual work in that, and then this is actually still just cheap. But in WordPress, doing a one-click in production and hoping that it's not gonna break. This is an approach. You can do that in production in Drupal as well. You just replace the files and just click update B in the browser and hope it's gonna work just the same.
Yes, but that's these sites are small ones. Yes, so if you broke something, on WordPress first have module or something like that. I don't remember exactly because I'm not a user of WordPress. Have something like related to update to make backup before you do something, so you can easily revert as I remember.
Right. Well, we do a backup before the update. The client can do that. I mean,
I see advantages of that solution, yes. But one of the biggest problem for me when I built few pages on Drupal, small pages like that one, the biggest problem is not to build the page, yeah. But then force the client to pay for updates. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if the client doesn't want to update, you can't really force them, right? So. For example, or update in production 10 times with the button and the 9th time it's gonna. But yeah, I mean, this is a different discussion, right? How to convince, if somebody works a WordPress website, it's not really difficult to convince them other ways, or if they want Magento or whatever software, they are kind of sold into one avenue already. But oftentimes they come to you and they want a Drupal website, really. But then, if you give them the price tag, they say, well, WordPress is 5 times cheaper. How am I going to justify even to my CEO or whoever to pay for that, right? And this kind of is solving this bit of equation. And maintenance, it is more expensive than if you just keep a, shared hosting somewhere, WordPress website that you don't update. Yeah, you can do that with this as well and hope for the best, because they are all very similar and use same code base, we if you test it on one or two, mostly the update just works for all the other ones as well. So this is also easy. So it's easier because they are the same. And if you have Drupal websites built and each one is different, then it's even more difficult to update so it's even more expensive. So this approach will be cheaper because they are more similar than typical custom projects.
Well, I have a number of questions. I'll try to ask some of them briefly. So, as far as I can see, you don't provide hosting. You just give the sites to client, and that's the problem. No, you charge for the site, not for the. Well, you charge client once for
depends on what the client wants. We can provide hosting as well, and then we maintain updates for the client, and we do that.
And another question is about content management interface in Drupal. So it's kind of hard for a person who is not familiar with Drupal and who is not experienced content manager to figure out how the resulting page
I mean, it's a different question, I suppose. We are not trying to solve all Drupal problems with this distribution, right? We are trying to solve the problem that building a simple website is expensive, and with this it's not, because it's already done once and you can just use it. And regarding user experiences and whether Drupal should have a different UI, that's a completely different subject as to comparing it to WordPress in that regard, and there are groups in the Drupal community that work just on this and how to solve this, and as soon as they figure it out, it's going to be available here as well.
As we know, there is this media initiative in Drupal. I'm curious if you have thought about including it at this stage, or perhaps not yet. So we will just use the default interface for handling media.
Yeah, well, so far we use the default interface. We know about it. I mean, everybody waits for media to be perfect in Drupal. So far we didn't want to overdo it. So if there is no plan as of yet to try to switch all these fields into the media module.
Okay. One more question. I'm kind of thinking about a part of market which might be interesting. In that sense, you have many like big companies who would actually who are actually creating a lot of landing pages.
Yes.
It might be interesting also for them to use Droopler. Droopler. Okay.
Droopler.
If I create a, let's say, custom theme because they have their own identity, their own visual style, and etc., how difficult do you project it might be for me to update to newer and newer versions of Droopler? And the next question, and the last one from my side, you say there is an established UX pattern based on which you build the theme.
Yes.
So what happens over, I don't know, 1-2 years when these patterns change? How do you envision handling this?
Okay, so to answer your question, when we were starting building Droopler, we actually were working on a site factory, exactly, and yeah, initially we were thinking about, well, everybody builds these factories where you have to spin up 100 pages really quickly, and yeah, we can do that with Droopler easily because it's a simple website and the same code base, so you can build a multi-site with hundreds of pages really quickly through. But then we decided to kind of market it and put it out on the market for exactly the bigger market in terms of usage, where are all these small and medium enterprise sites. But it doesn't stop you from using Droopler for a site factory. As to how difficult it's going to be to maintain your own theme, it shouldn't be too difficult, I think, because if you create your own templates, that's, you control your own theme in there, so it shouldn't be too difficult, I think. But as to the patterns, so the third question, yeah, internet is going to change, we don't really know where it's going to go, so we'll see where we get there, and then we might release a new theme probably, or change the new one, or iterate the next version from this is Bootstrap 4, this is latest version, it's going to be here for some time, then Bootstrap 5 is going to come out, or 6 or whatever, or maybe something new is going to take over the front end way of doing things. We might just release a new. I don't want to really prognose in the future that much.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I rather want to add something. So you said something very wise. We should sell solutions to customers, and most customers, actually, if you look at it, they have only static content. So there's no user registration. There's even often no comments. So what you actually can do is you have a static generator on Drupal. And there is actually just one project, and I'm really wondering, because nobody's really, it's not really much maintained, but what you would do is you sell a Drupal site, which is hidden behind a htaccess password, and then this generator generates a public HTML site, which is only shown to the public. So the public only sees static HTML pages, and then you have first a super blazing fast website, no PHP, no nothing. And you have also a super secure website, like Drupal is never an issue. Wednesday night security updates are never an issue, because it's all just, the public only sees static HTML. And I think that there is a big market share which would live well with these static websites, with Drupal of course, because Drupal has this great CMS, right? You can create static complex data structures, but we would just serve the public static HTML sites. So just as a hint, maybe, I think this is something to consider.
For my clients, whenever it comes to security, it's the best approach. So it doesn't matter what is behind. Drupal or any content management system, the most important is the public is also that and it's secure, because HTML, I would like to say, start to hack.
Right. So with good conscience, you can sell a website without any maintenance contract afterwards, and so it's a big benefit, I think.
It is, yeah. It's an interesting concept. I mean, this is what I did for a few of my clients on Drupal 6 sites when they didn't want to upgrade. I said, well, maybe I'll just turn them into HTML sites like that, and they sit on my S3 bucket on Amazon, and like they pay like 5 cents. Well, for now, we hope people get to use it and submit issues to the queue so that we can actually see what they do with that. We are already using this for all the situations where the website is simple enough so that it doesn't really need a separate build. And also we are also looking at places where we can use this even if a project is really big. Maybe we can just create a new base theme but start from that as a kind of starting platform rather than build everything from scratch again. Long-term plans, I don't really want to we have many ideas, really, as everybody, but we'll see where it's going to go. But for now, there isn't any like very specific business plan behind. It's just like we try to give the community as much as possible. We were using this, and we initially had it on GitHub only, and we figured people are not going to really use it on GitHub, so let's publish it to Drupal.org where it's more official and it's more available, and you know, we like to maintain it. We have already people on GitHub submitting some issues, and we said, oh, well, this is starting to be used. So okay, well then, thank you very much.